So we're gonna write inequalities that look like this, like we did yesterday. We're gonna write inequalities that look like this, and we're gonna solve them. But they're not given to us. They're disguised as word problems. Okay, I'm gonna guide you through them. Trust me, in about 10 minutes, you're gonna be experts at this. Okay, so we're gonna do the first one, number 5. Verizon charges $12 plus $2 for every minute you spend on the internet. So imagine if you're not on Wi-Fi, Verizon's going to charge you for every minute that you're on the internet. Like you go to the park and there's no Wi-Fi, so you use your internet, and for every minute that you're surfing the internet or playing a game, they would charge you $2 for it.
Do they actually, or just in this?
Well, this is actually, when I was your age, this is how it started. I would actually have to pay. Text messages were like 10 cents. Each message that I got was 10 cents, and each text message that I received was 5 cents. So you know that we weren't sending very many text messages because it would be expensive. And then they figured out, okay, we're going to charge them just a lot more and give everything like unlimited, but we're going to raise the price. Here, just to have the phone was $12. And then it was $2 for every minute. So you're like, oh, I'm just paying $12. Cool. If you don't go on the internet, if you stay all on Wi-Fi, all you have to do is pay $12, which is cheaper than any cell service right now, right? Where they get your money is the $2 for every minute. So if I'm on the internet for a minute, they're going to charge me $2. If I'm on the internet for 2 minutes, they're going to charge me $4. What if I'm on the internet for 10 minutes? How much extra is that?
20.
20. Can you imagine that? And you know very well that you can easily spend 10 minutes on the internet in a blink of an eye, right? All right. Okay, so Verizon charges you $12 plus $2 for every minute you spend on the internet. If you have $74, you only have $74 to spend. How many minutes can you afford to spend on the internet? So what's the maximum amount of minutes I can spend on the internet? So I want an inequality problem that looks like the one we just did yesterday. Very, very similar. We're going to have a variable and an inequality symbol. Now, I'm going to take a wild guess before we break it down more.
62.
Okay, so we're looking for, first off, let me write this down, an inequality. Now, I'm not asking you to copy down the word problem itself, but I do want you to copy down everything that I kind of write down. I want you to write down. So we're looking for an inequality. So it says $12 plus $2 for every minute. The $12 is standard. Everyone gets charged $12 plus $2 for every minute. So how do I represent? Okay, so it's going to be $2, right? Times every minute. Do I know how many minutes you're going to be on there? No. So how do I represent a number in math that I don't know? How do I represent a number? I represent a number that I don't know.
X,
right? When I don't know a number, I use an X. It's called a variable. Now, in this situation, I mean, I love X's. Don't get me wrong. I love X's. But in this situation, I'm going to use the variable M. Why do you think I want to use the variable M?
It stands for minutes.
Yes, exactly. When I'm dealing with word problems, I like to use the variables that kind of remind me of what the problem is all about. The question says, how many minutes? Well, that's why I have an M, because I'm going to solve for minutes. All right, $74 is how much I have in total. Now, I left this space here on purpose. I need an inequality. Now, go back to elementary school when it was like, oh, the alligator ate the bigger number, right? Ate the bigger side. Which side is bigger? How much I have in my pocket or how much I'm going to spend? Can I spend? Yeah, exactly. Can I spend more money than I have? No, right? I can't go to the store and buy 3 PlayStation 5s if I only have $100. Can't do that. Okay, so here I would have this side be bigger. So it would be eating the 74 because that side would be bigger. So my inequality right now would be less than. Now, question, can I spend exactly $74?
No.
Really?
Oh,
If I-
but yeah.
If I have $74, like if you had $5 in your pocket and you go to the corner store, isn't your goal to spend all $5 on something and
Yeah.
come home with no money in your pocket, but a bunch of bags of chips and whatnot? Yeah, exactly. Right. So if you had $74, some of you might go like, oh, we're spending it all. We're spending it all, which means it also has an equal to symbol. So this is less than or equal to 74. Okay, so we have our inequality. So again, you're responsible. I'm asking you to write down everything that I write down. I'm going to write this in my notebook. 12 plus 2m is less than or equal to 70. This inequality right here, this inequality is what this problem is about. Verizon charged me $12 plus $2 for every minute, and I only got 74 bucks. So now we're going to solve it. So I'm going to draw my bars. Which number do I have to move first? The 12 or the 2? Which number do I move first?
2.
The 12. The 12.
The 12, because the 2 is right next to the
Oh,
M.
yeah.
Too close, too close. So move the 12 first. So everybody get a head start. Move the 12 first, please. You're doing this in your notebook. All right. So on this side, we have 2m left over, less than or equal to, what's 74 minus 12?
62.
62. Thank you. Now, what do we have to do next? What's our last step? How do I get m all the way?
Divide by 2.
Divide by 2. So we're going to divide by 2 here and divide by 2 here. So I'm going to go over here, show my work. 62 divided by 2. Everybody, let's do this. Right here.
31.
We're left with m. Bring down this inequality, less than or equal to. 62 divided by 2 is
31.
31. Cool. Now, I'm not going to ask you to graph, but I'm going to ask you to do something different. I'm not going to ask you to graph. I'm going to have you do something different. What does the M stand for? What does 31 stand for? What does our answer really mean?
31 minutes.
Yes, a little more. What do you mean 31 minutes? So in the story, what does the 31 minutes mean? You're on the right track.
For every minute you spend on
$31 for every minute.
No, how much do I spend every, no, they charge me $2 for every minute. $2 for every minute. So what does the 31 mean? It is minutes, but what does it mean in?
the minutes you can spend on the internet.
Yes. 31 minutes is how many minutes I can spend on the internet. If you ever, when you're taking a test and you're just like, I don't know what this answer means, go back to where the question mark is and read that part, because the question tells you what you're solving for. So I mean, you're like, what am I solving for? I don't know. Go back to where the question mark is and it will tell you how many minutes can you afford to spend on the internet? Oh, I can afford to spend 31 minutes. Oh, I get it. So what I would like you to do is literally type that out. I can spend, or I can afford, I can spend I can spend 31 minutes. Oops. Or less on the internet. I can spend 31 minutes or less on the internet. So it's right here where it says, write a sentence that explains your answer. So instead of graphing it, I am telling you that you can spend 31 minutes or less on the internet. You can spend 10 minutes on the internet. You have enough money to spend 10 minutes on. You have enough money to spend 30 minutes on it. I have enough money to spend 31 minutes on it. Do I have enough money to spend 40 minutes on the internet?
No.
No. So this tells me that I can spend less than or equal to 31. I can spend 31 minutes or less on the internet. All right. So this is what you have to copy down. This is one of 3 problems. We still have 2 more to do. Screenshot if you don't have this, because it's about to disappear forever. Screenshot if you need it. All right. As in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to clear it. Clear it. All right. Let's move on to the second problem of the day. Remember, we're only doing 3. A limo company charges $60 plus $35 an hour. If you only have $200, how many hours can you afford to rent the limo? So very, very similar to what we just did. Very similar. Some of you are going to be like, oh, I got it. Okay. So a limo company charges $60. Whoops. $60 plus $35 an hour. So every hour, $35. For the limo just to show up to your driveway, $60 just to show up to your driveway. And then they charge you, oh, you want to go somewhere? Oh, well then, that's an extra $35 an hour. I only got $200. So how many total, what's the maximum amount of hours? What's the maximum amount of hours that I can spend on renting the limo? All right, does anybody want to take a guess at the inequality? Very similar to the one we just did. Take a wild guess. Anybody out there alive?
Sorry, I'm on Mars.
5 hours?
I'm not looking for the answer. I'm looking for the inequality. So I'm looking. Huh?
60 plus 35 less. I don't know.
Oh, you're somewhat right.
Less than or equal to?
Yes. Oh, perfect. I got the answer in the chat. Okay. So I want the whole math problem inequality. This is just an inequality symbol. It's like an equal sign, but I'm looking for like the whole problem. So it's $60 plus $35 an hour. So the 35 keeps changing. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So I'm going to put a variable next to the 35. I'm going to use H. Why do you think I used H?
Because it stands for the hours.
For the hours, right? So, and because the problem says how many hours, oh, I'm solving for how many hours, I'm going to use the letter H. Now, there's an equal to part here because I can spend all $200 on renting the limo. Like, why would I? But I can spend it. So it can be equal to 200. So less than or equal to 200. So ladies and gentlemen, the reason we're doing these word problems is the state test, the MAP test, Miss Lomelli's test, love to give you word problems. And the very first question is, what's the problem? Here's your word problem. What's the problem? So this would be like part 1, and this would be 5 points, and that's it. And then the second part, which is worth another 5 points, it's like, cool, now solve it, right? So they don't want you to jump to the answer. They want you to like, nah, take it slow, take it easy. What's my inequality? All right, what number do I move first?
The 60.
Yes, so we're going to do minus 60. Now, again, you're doing this in your notebook. I'm doing it on the screen, but you're doing it in your notebook so you keep it forever. You're gonna take a picture later and submit it for points. Okay, so we have 35H on this side, less than or equal to on this side, and then 140, right? Then our last step, cool. Our last step is going to be to divide by 35, divide by 35. And you're like, geez, I got to take 140 and divide it by 35. What? This would be a perfect example of using a calculator, would come in handy. Or shortcut would be like, yes. Just keep
It's
adding.
4.
Yes, just keep adding 35 plus 35 until you get to 140. So if you're like not a fan of dividing, just keep adding until you get to 140. This problem, if you had this problem like on the map test, they would totally give you a calculator for it, because this part, you don't need a calculator for it, right? So they would give you a calculator because well, there's no reason to have a calculator, but they'll give it to you. All right, so yes. So the answer is H is less than or equal to 4. Okay, but I'm not going to ask you to graph it. I'm going to ask you to write a sentence. What does this answer mean? What does H is less than or equal to 4 mean in the story?
You could spend 30. You could spend 4 hours on the or less on the limo.
Yeah. So, and that's exactly, if you're taking the map test or the state test, that's what you type out. Like they want you to write a sentence. They're like, cool, you got 4, nice. The last part is, well, what does that mean? So you would type out, I can rent the limo for 4 hours or less, right? And however you say it in your own words, but it means this, that's what they want to see. They want to see like, well, do you understand what you just solved for? Right? All right, kids. Now there's a bunch of you who like just arrived. I don't know who it was, but you know how I'm going to take attendance? Does anybody know how I'm going to take attendance? Does anybody know? Anybody?
Do now.
Do now. That's how Miss O'Malley took the attendance. So if you did the do now, you were marked here. If you haven't done the do now, you're not here. You're a ghost from Mars. Do you think the people from Mars log on to my Zoom and then don't do anything? Now it makes sense. Okay. Screenshot. If you don't have this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Clear. Okay, last problem. Last problem. We can do this, guys. We can do this. Okay. The last problem. Boomers charges $15 to enter. So just to walk into Boomers, just to walk in there, 15 bucks. Now, if you actually want to ride a ride, like the go-karts or whatever, that's going to cost you an extra $3 per ride.
Yeah.
If you guys have ever been to the county fair, like the OC County Fair, that's how it is. They charge you to get in. And then if you want to go on any of the carnival rides, you got to pay for it extra. Like you either pay like for tickets or sometimes they'll give you like a wristband, right? So that's extra. So this is an example of just that. And some of you, when you guys go back to the fair, like hopefully next year, they'll do this. 15 bucks and $3 per ride. I only have $27 though. So how many rides can I go on? I have to pay to get in, I have to get paid to get in, and then $3 per ride. And I got 27 bucks. Does anybody want to take a shot at the inequality problem? The whole inequality problem, not the symbol.
15 plus 3
Uh-huh.
R.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, so that's the first part. 15 plus 3R, R for rides. Because the question says how many rides? So perfect use of the letter R.
greater
27.
than or equal to?
Well, which side does the inequality point to? The 15 plus 3R?
27.
The 27, right? Because it eats the bigger number. I can't be spending more than $27. I'm at the fair. If I only have $1, they're not going to let me ride the ride. Can I spend all of my money? Sure
Yeah.
can. Sure can. And I'm sure you
You can
will.
write 3 rides.
I don't know. Let me check. I don't know. Do them out. I'm going to draw my bars. What's the first number I move? 15 or the 3?
15.
Yep. Do it in your notebook. All right, so 27 minus 15, that gives me 2, that gives me a 1, less than or equal to 3R. So I'm going to divide by 3, divide by 3. So R
Is 4.
4. Sydney, you're fine. So you can go on 4 or less rides. So that's exactly the sentence I want you to write down. I can go on 4 or less rides. Of course, if you want to change that sentence, you can, just as long as it kind of means the same thing, that's fine. So instead of graphing, we're going to write this little sentence. I can go on 4 or less rides. And that's how carnivals work, right? The OC fair, that's how it works. You can get in. Sometimes you can get in for free, but it's the rides that are expensive. That's how they get you. Terrible. All right, screenshot. Whoa, screenshot, please. If you don't have it, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, clear. Okay, so your assignment on Canvas is literally picture of your notes 218. So this is your picture of your notes that you just took, these three. That's what I want to see a picture of, and then you just submit it. Okay.